Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is another genre, etc. video, this time covering everything the people who went to the set of Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. There was a whole bunch of people went there. Paul Shirey from Joe Blow, and of course our very own Stephen Colbert, who actually got to visit the set of Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which is really exciting. So for people who don't want to read, I'm going to read you this article right here coming from Stephen. It's really well put together, and it really details a lot of what happened, what he learned from Army of the Dead. So here you go. Now they're not really spoilers. I guess it just gives context to about this movie, a synopsis, if you will, and a little bit backstory behind the different characters there. It doesn't tell you who lives or dies, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you really want to go in like zero, knowing as little as possible, then of course don't even pay attention to this video and go and watch the movie that's coming out next month. But if you want to know a little bit of the context and the ideas for this movie, then here we have it. So this is coming from Screen Rant. Everything we learned on the set of Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. Screen Rant visited the set of Army of the Dead to talk to the cast and crew about Zack Snyder's zombie epic for Netflix. Here's what we learned. Here we go. Zack Snyder is roaring back into 2021 with two big movies, including his first original film in a decade, Army of the Dead. After his complicated exit from Justice League in 2017 and the fan campaign that followed for the release of the Snyder Cut 2021, saw the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League in March, and will also see Snyder return to the zombie genre on Netflix with Army of the Dead in May. Back in October of 2019, before the Snyder Cut was even confirmed, Screen Rant visited the set of Army of the Dead to speak with the cast and crew and get a peek behind the curtain at Snyder's zombie epic. Oh boy, here we go. After a dramatic tenure working for DC, there's a lot of curiosity surrounding Snyder's decision to go back to the zombie genre, with his 2004 version of Dawn of the Dead being one of Snyder's most critically successful movies, although Army of the Dead comes with a few twists that make it much bigger and way different from a simple zombie film. The partnership with Netflix makes it Snyder's first movie for a studio other than Warner Brothers since he made Dawn of the Dead for Universal in 2004, and the very first announcement promised it'd be a Snyder Unchained, a phrase even more loaded with meaning than ever after the release of his epic 4-hour Snyder Cut. Speaking with producers Deborah Snyder and Wes Collar, cast members like Dave Bautista, Theo Rossi, Ana de la Legrera, I think I butchered that, Samantha Nguyen, Raul Castillo, Nora Arnezeder, various members of the crew, and Zack Snyder himself, we got an epic first look at what Snyder has in store for viewers when Army of the Dead hits Netflix on May 21st. Army of the Dead takes place after the zombie apocalypse already happened. While Army of the Dead is billed as a zombie apocalypse movie, it isn't actually about the zombie apocalypse itself, as most of the movie takes place after the outbreak has already happened and been contained. After the initial plague starts spreading from Area 51, the military engages the zombies in the Nevada desert as the first line of defense. When the military isn't enough, civilian militias begin to pick up the slack, which is where most of the main cast comes into play, joining together to become one of the most successful zombie fighting teams in the war, known as Las Vengeance. That's a crazy name for the Las Vengeance. That's cool. Eventually, the outbreak is contained to Las Vegas, where a wall of shipping containers is set up to fence the zombies in, containing the spread. And you actually see that in the trailer. Zack Snyder is famous for his opening sequences, especially Watchmen, and Army of the Dead will tell this story in its own opening credits sequence before picking up 6 years later after the outbreak has been contained and the world has settled into some sort of new post-pandemic normal. The wall circles Las Vegas, and most of the world stays far away other than a refugee camp along the wall, inhabited by anyone the government believes to be at risk of infection. Unfortunately, The fear of zombie infection means the government is granted additional authority to contain it, which is abused. According to caller, anyone that the government feels may have an opinion that doesn't sync up with exactly what they want to be out there. If it's this great place to point a thermometer at them to say, hey, temperature seems to be dropping, you know. As a result, a lot of people living in camp venture into the zombie-infested Vegas quarantine zone to try to find something valuable enough to bribe the guards so they can get out. Wow, they have their own little contained story here. I mean, even outside the Las Vegas. The zombie outbreak originated in Area 51 and other surprise sci-fi elements. Love it, love sci-fi. The big twist and lingering mystery with Army of the Dead is the fact that the zombie infection originated in Area 51. Producer Deborah Snyder teases it could be an experiment gone wrong, or it could be a sci-fi element, but it's clear the outbreak's origin is a big tease for some other mysterious reveal about the nature of the zombies. Zack Snyder also teases the presence of robot zombies? What? Which he teases by simply asking, are they monitors that the government has placed among the zombies to monitor them? Are they technology from the other world? What's happening there? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, all right, I'm in. Why Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead could... Oh, wait, no, that's for a related topic. Sorry. Whatever the nature of the zombie infection's origin, the zombies themselves also diverge from normal zombies. According to producer Wesley Collar, Zeus, played by Richard Citrone, the guy who did the stunts for Batman, is the name of their patient Zero. And whether he's genetically engineered or he has part alien in him, but Zeus escapes from Area 51. He's like our alpha. Oh, he's the King Daddy. He starts the outbreak. Oh, when he bites you, we get other alphas. But if they bite you, it gets weaker and weaker, and we get shamblers. Wow, that's interesting. During the zombie war, Collar says the faster, smarter alphas were sort of an urban myth, but there's a lot more of them in Vegas, and Zeus is even building an army for some unknown reason. But the fact that it inspires the title of the movie gives it a lot of significance. Oh, so it's actually really Army of the Dead, like it's Zeus is like that guy, right? The general. The king. Army of the Dead's plot synopsis and Las Vegas heist plan explained. You see the Snyder cut right there. Right there. The bulk of the movie takes place after the initial zombie outbreak and war, jumping 6 years into the future. The Las Vengeance team is split up, and the team's leader, Scott, who was played by Dave Bautista, is working as a short order cook at a little diner where he's approached by Bly, played by Hiroyuki Sanada, who's playing Scorpion Hanzo, to recruit him for a mission. The government is planning to nuke Vegas and get rid of the zombies on the 4th of July because Deborah Snyder says the president thought that was very patriotic. But Bly has millions of dollars stashed in a vault beneath his casino, and it'll all be lost if it's not retrieved before the bomb drops. Oh, that's why he said there's a 32-hour window when they can go and retrieve it, right? So that's why they had that window. Scott assembles his team with the addition of a few new members and heads into the Vegas quarantine zone, where the deeper into the city they go, the more they discover about the alpha zombies and their plans. They have plans? While the team is in the city, the government decides to drop the nuke earlier than expected. Oh! Not much was revealed about the plot beyond this point, but according to Deborah Snyder, our team is stuck with a real big ticking clock. I won't spoil what happens, but like a true heist movie, I think the fun of it is everyone has their own motivations and is a lot of double crossing. Oh boy, oh boy. The cast and characters of Army of the Dead. Here we go. So Zeus, Richard Citrone, he's a character. As mentioned, Zeus is patient Zero and escaped from Area 51. Snyder says Zeus is supposed to be somewhat sympathetic in the sense that he didn't ask for this. Oh, and it was apparently something done to him. And the faster, smarter alpha zombies are in the movie to create some empathy for the zombies and add a little moral ambiguity. When Zeus bites someone, it makes them another alpha, although other alphas only create standard shambler zombies. Zeus is played by Richard Citrone, who has been a stunt performer and played a variety of small roles on every single Zack Snyder movie to date, most famous for serving as Ben Affleck's Batman stunt double. In concept art we were shown on set, he's undead but not as traditionally zombie looking. He's depicted with a flowing ratty red cape and has a spear, depicted in one image with a skeletal head on the top and a spine dangling down. He also has a zombie horse. Some concept art shows him overlooking the city or patrolling the streets on his horse, but he's also shown with glowing green eyes in some darker concept art. Right, so he was the dude on the Statue of Liberty. The first trailer doesn't show the red cape or green eyes, so it's not clear if those made it through to the final version, but it definitely presents him as much more of a threat than a simple zombie. Scott, played by Dave Bautista, he led the Lost Vengeance team during the zombie war. There was a zombie war? What was he there? Afterward, he had dreams of settling down and owning a restaurant or a food truck. He's working as a short order cook when he's called on for the mission. His daughter, Kate, played by Ellen Purnell, is a big part of the emotional heart of Army of the Dead, as said by Deborah Snyder. I think it's the spine of the movie. And it's the heart of the movie because he's estranged from his daughter, and through the course of the movie, we see their relationship kind of unfold and grow and kind of get healed. Bautista is very much playing against type or against what you expect. He says he really wants to be known as a serious, dramatic actor. He said the only reason he took his movie was so he could learn how to direct from Zack Snyder. Debbie Snyder described him as a gentle soul, and Theo Rosie raved about how unexpected his performance, saying, "You can't put Dave in a box." Cruz, played by Ana de la Negrera, butcher last name. Cruz has a history with Scott, so Deborah Snyder says there's some tension there and some playfulness in their relationship. Cruz put the team together with Bautista Scott during the zombie war, but they've been separated since. She owns a car shop and fixes up muscle cars and stuff, and she told us the Lost Vengeance taco truck, oh that's cool, depicted in concept art as a weaponized zombie killing machine, like the buses in Dawn of the Dead with a Lost Vengeance logo sprayed painted on the side. Oh, that sounds sick, man. Is hers, although Dave Bautista also said it was his during his interview, which may be a simple mix-up or an example of the complicated history between the characters. Vanderoe, played by Omar Harwick. Vanderoe is another member of the original Lost Vengeance team. He's a super zombie killer, according to Deborah Snyder, but also a philosopher who's frequently citing Joseph Campbell, of course. Hardwick's character is supposed to be the bit of an enigma, subverting expectations for a hardened zombie killer. Deborah Snyder says he has a soft, selfless side, and he's working in a retirement home. Oh, when they track him down to reunite the Las Vengeance team. Greta, played by Huma Qureshi. Gita is a mom whose family is in the camp. She goes to Vegas to try to get money to get her family out of the camp, but she never comes back. Oh, okay, so I initially, when I thought she was in there, she was part of the team, but she's probably one of the survivors inside Vegas. Kate, played by Ella Purnell, she is, of course, Scott's daughter. Caller described her as a selfless humanitarian who works with people at refugee camps. She joins the mission so she can go into Vegas to find Gita. Oh, she's okay. Scott tries to stop her, but she said she's going anyway, so he might as well let her be part of the zombie killing heist team so he can keep her safe instead of her going in on her own. Lily, played by Nora, also referred to as the Coyote. Lily lives in a storage locker along the wall and has been taking refugees inside Vegas to the casino to find money in slot machines or cashier drawers so they can pay off guards to get out of the camp. She's kind of a punk rock and badass. She wears black fingerless gloves, bracers, has black makeup around her eyes, short bleached hair, a ragged black t-shirt for Scottish punk rock band The Exploited. The shirt was apparently specifically requested by Snyder. She also had a coyote skull and paw hanging from her belt and a small bird skull on her necklace. Nora told us that she doesn't have a specific backstory, but in her mind, she used to work at the casino. Bert Cummings, Theo Rosie. Bert Cummings is a border patrol guard who isn't really a part of the rest of the zombie hunting team. Deborah Snyder refers to as kind of a villain, although Theo Rosie referred to him unequivocally as a villain in our interview with him. Based on what we know about the guards, he probably abused his power and took bribes. It's not clear why he's part of the team, but Deborah Snyder said it's for reasons that you'll find out when you see the movie. All right, good. Bly, of course, not much is known about Bly other than the fact that he owns the Bly Casino, and he hires Scott and the Lost Vengeance team to go get his money from the vault under his casino and the Snyder Cut before the government nukes Vegas. Martin, played by Garrett Dillahunt. Martin's Bly, head of security. He's joining the team to supervise and make sure the money is brought back. He's also the only one not there by choice, which Color says causes the rest of the team to question what his true motivations are along the journey. Well, everybody's got a story to tell in this one. Ludwig Dieter, or Dieter, I think say Dieter, and that's the famous German guy, Matthias Schweighöfer. I think he's German. I could be wrong about that. Dieter is another new member to the Lost Vengeance team. He joins because he's an expert safecracker. Oh, okay, so he's the one that's going to be in an army of the thieves, right? And one of the only people in the world who knows how to break into the specific type of safe for the vault below the Bly Casino. He has a very little experience fighting zombies, but he's also the most important to keep alive, because if he dies, they won't be able to get to the money, get the money out. Kohler also praises, I can't say that name, sorry, who's since directed a prequel film about his character Army of Thieves as one of the film's sources of comedic relief. Obviously, the film is full of action and drama and all those things, and his ability to sort of break that tension and give you a moment of levity within some of those sequences is really great. Guzman, played by Raul Castillo. Since the zombie outbreak originally happened 6 years before the main story of Army of the Dead, some parts of the world have changed because of that, and Guzman is one of the ways the movie explores that. He's a YouTuber and social media influencer whose brand revolves around him coming up with crazy ways to kill zombies for his channel. He has a subscriber base. How many? How big? He's trying to grow and checks in with regularly, although Castillo told us he doesn't have much time to vlog during the actual mission to Vegas. He has tons of experience killing zombies and even has harsh marks on his costume, keeping track of his kill count, but he isn't experienced in actual combat like the rest of the team. His presence could be seen as similar to Harlem Globetrotters who were to join an NBA team. That's funny. It's hilarious. A YouTuber. Chambers, Samantha Nguyen. Chambers is close with Guzman and joins to protect him. Her background isn't as clear, but she's also highly skilled at killing zombies as well. Samantha Nguyen has been doing stunts and playing small roles in Snyder's movies since Sucker Punch, and is an Olympic martial artist, so she has a lot of experience with stunt coordinator Damon Carroll and the rest of the stunt team, and does all her own stunts. Nguyen told us on set, there's a moment where I get separated, and that's when Chambers gets to mull through some zombies in a scene that could potentially showcase Army of the Dead's best action. I've kind of been groomed in a way to work to their style and their timing and their choreography already, so the sky was a limit for us and we went crazy. She also wears a red bandana and a green tank top that looks like an homage to Vasquez in Aliens, which was also badass, which Snyder said was one of the movie's influence, although this particular reference wasn't confirmed on set. I mean, you can kind of see that just seeing the cast members. Oh, here, Tig Notaro's character, Marianne Peters. Peters is a slightly complicated aspect for Army of the Dead. During principal photography, the role was played by comedian Chris D'Elia, but after a number of sexual misconduct allegations came out against D'Elia, Snyder recast the role and replaced him with another comedian, Tig Notaro, in post-production. Not much was said about the role of Peters while we were on set, and D'Elia wasn't present, but from what we did learn, it sounds like he may actually be the easiest to replace, meaning Snyder's work swapping in Tig Notaro isn't as complicated than it would be for some of the other characters. Peters is a pilot and mechanic and was a member of the original Lost Vengeance team. The plan involves escaping Vegas on a helicopter from the top of the Bly Casino. So it's Peters' job to haul the gasoline to the team hiked in. Oh, that's why they all have gas tanks, since the gas on site will be too old to work, and make sure the helicopter is ready for flight. So Peter spends most of her time monologuing and cussing to herself while the rest of the team is off killing zombies. Snyder obviously had his eye on comedians for the role, so Notaro's Peters is another source of comedic relief. Army of the Dead zombies are a lot different than traditional undead shamblers. Army of the Dead is going to provide a number of twists from what audiences may expect from traditional zombie lore. In case the Area 51 origin didn't make that clear enough, of course, this aspect of the plot isn't explained beyond teases, but Deborah Snyder says whether he's genetically engineered or he's part alien in him, but Zeus escapes from Area 51 and he's like our alpha. He's the king daddy. He starts the outbreak. When he bites you, we get other alphas, but if they bite you, it gets weaker and weaker and we get shamblers, okay? While the whole world is aware of shambler zombies, The true origin is only known by whatever the government knows from whatever was going on in Area 51. And the few people who encountered alphas, although according to producer Wes Kohler, they may be mostly a myth. So these creatures that are mythological sort of lore, the fast ones that are unknown, do they exist or not? As we make our way into the city, we get to explore the world, and I think part of the fun is, unlike a traditional shambler, which is a threat in its own right because there's a elevated consciousness. Consciousness? There's some type of awareness. We like to say that they are much like a wolf pack. So they're not talking, they're not communicating on that obvious of level. But there's much more elevated threat in that way. Well, I wonder if it's kind of like Aliens, where there's the queen hive mind in a way, and Zeus is a little bit more of that. Maybe the queen zombie too? In addition to the alphas and shamblers, the infection can also spread to animals. The animal that gets the most attention is the zombie white tiger, which everyone has now seen in the trailer, which has also been revealed to be modeled off of one of Carol Baskin's tigers. But there's also zombie horse ridden by Zeus, zombie dogs, and potentially more. The Las Vegas setting is utilized to the fullest. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, including the zombies. Vegas is known to be a crazy place full of colorful characters, from the entertainers and people who work there down to the eclectic assortment of tourists that visit Vegas year-round. So naturally, a zombie heist movie set in Vegas could get pretty crazy. A lot of what we had heard on set already has been seen, particularly Valentine, the zombie white tiger, who was teased to take out at least one member of the squad in a fun action sequence, but expect to keep a lookout for some crazy zombie variations when the film arrives. Deborah Snyder describes some examples of the kind of characters we'll see, including zombie Elvises, and we call her the Queen, but she was like a Cirque du Soleil. It's fun to see remnants of what they were, whether it's a brides or whether it's Thunder Down Under. Chippendale dancers as zombies. It's really fun to play with. Samantha Nguyen also described the Vegas craziness in our interview with her, including the depiction of a whole group of Elvis impersonators that met a gruesome demise. It really gave them so much opportunity for crazy characters, with it being set in Vegas. Tigers, a group of Elvises that hung themselves. So as we're navigating through a hallway, there's like 7 Elvis impersonators that have hung themselves. It's like, where else would you find something like this? But it also just makes so interesting and appealing and visually stunning. The sequins, the sparkles, and the headdresses. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane. Zack Snyder's vision and Netflix partnership explained. Oh, okay, here we go. Thanks to the high-profile conflict with Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers, culminating in the release of the Snyder Cut, Snyder's relationship with the studio was a big focus in our own on-set discussions. Deborah Snyder said, "It's really hard unless you're making a big superhero film or a big franchise to get content that it's a little pokier and it's a little bit more irreverent, or maybe a drama to get made. But Netflix is a good fit for that team because she feels like Netflix is allowing filmmakers the chance to make these films and that otherwise would not be getting made." So thank you, Netflix. Theo Rossi, who has experience from his tenure on a number of Netflix projects, has specifically praised the collaboration with Netflix and the creative freedom they've given Snyder, who's credited as a writer, director, producer, director of photography, even a camera operator. It's almost like a vertical integration with Zack. He's doing everything. And when you let someone off the chain like that, like Zack, who is just such a visual master and such an incredible filmmaker, we have this. Snyder himself is also enjoying the partnership, saying they're very comfortable with the movie that I proposed to them, and that's a cool and great experience. It's been an amazing relationship thus far. You know they're going to work together a lot more often. The level of freedom afforded Zack Snyder by Netflix was a major talking point, not just with the filmmakers, but also the cast and crew. Theo Rossi said he accepted his role knowing nothing other than the fact that it was Zack Snyder project, saying that's all Zack's vision and the team that he has. And when you have that, it's just, you just trusted so much in it. So yeah, that's my experience with everyone. It's amazing. Army of the Dead will look way different from any other Zack Snyder film. Zack Snyder's name is synonymous with a lot of things, but his visuals are one of the most talked about aspects of his film, so of course, that was a big emphasis in our on-set discussions. In fact, both Bautista and Rosie referred to Snyder as a visual master. After speaking with Snyder on set and seeing how he's approaching the movie, it's clear his approach here will be yet another evolution in his visual style. The big talking point was the camera and lens technology. Snyder, like Christopher Nolan, has always been an advocate of shooting on film, especially IMAX. But Army of the Dead marks his first movie shooting digitally. However, that doesn't mean he abandoned an organic, tactile feel, as he may have leaned into that even more thanks to his lenses and decision, the only natural lighting during the shoot. Kohler said Snyder spent a lot of time reviewing different vintage lenses before settling on the Canon Dream lens, which Kohler described as perfectly imperfect. The 50mm f-stop 0.95 Dream lens used by Snyder provides a super shallow depth of field, meaning the area of focus in most shots is incredibly thin, which will usually give the background and foreground a much softer blur. In layman's terms, expect for cinematography to play with a lot of extreme focus, where the majority of a lot of the shots are blurry, just like Nightmare Sequence and the one you see in the trailer, right? Other than the subject. This can already be seen a lot in the trailer set to Kenny Rogers' The Gambler, which I'm addicted to right now, especially in shots like the reveal of the zombie queen. The decision to also shoot everything wide open will create a lot of high contrast scenarios where there's been both blown out of overexposed light coming through a window and dark shadows in the same shot. Kohler described as a really photographic quality that I don't think is expected. Kohler and Deborah Snyder describes extreme examples ranging from a scene in this casino where the only sources of light are the flashlights and muzzle flashes of the guns, or a crash sequence Snyder wanted to shoot at night in the desert, which took 2 weeks to complete because there was only a 20-minute window each night where the lighting met their needs. Wow. Dave Bautista told us they'd stick a tube light in some scenes when absolutely necessary if there was no other light sources. Otherwise, it's all natural light. The movie is also mostly shot on practical sets. Most set photos from Snyder's recent DC films have shown giant green screen sound stages, but according to Army of the Dead's VFX supervisors, only one scene was shot on a soundstage, with most of it being either on location or in a practical set on the back lot in New Mexico. The VFX team did a full scan of the Las Vegas Strip, employing scissor lifts and drones over the course of about a week to capture LiDAR scans and HD photography of the strip at various heights to create a 3D model from which they created their devastated Vegas. So while there's certainly a lot of VFX employed, including CGI creatures like the zombie tiger, Army of the Dead should have a much more intimate, grounded, and tactile feel than the big spectacle of his comic book movies. Army of the Dead release date May 21st of 2021. This is an amazing article and gives you quite a lot to take in. I can't wait to see this movie. This is going to be awesome. Just like Samantha Nguyen says, it's going to be insane.